Okay, good evening. Hi there, folks. This is Workplace Wizards. My name's Gavin Wong, and we're here for another episode of this podcast. Let me just introduce my colleague to you.
Hello, Gav.
How are you?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
I'm okay. I played a bit of golf today, which is nice, but not very successfully.
Oh,
It's a taking part that counts, though.
so you tore up somebody's yard today?
Just, I didn't tear anything up today. It was pretty poor.
You shoot triple digits?
Listen, I'm a trier. Okay, I've got that perseverance.
All
That's what
right.
makes people successful. Successful people, they like what they do, okay, and they persevere. I'll get there in the end.
Okay. I can't wait to play you. All right, Gav. What are we talking about today?
Well, I think we should talk about. We've been speaking a lot over the last few weeks, and I think what's clear is that we've got a lot of experience between ourselves. We're both from the law enforcement environment, but within that, we've been in many different leadership roles. Mine are slightly different to yours, but we're both in leadership roles. We've learned a lot over, sort of probably combined 50, 60 years of experience of leadership. And I think what we probably need to do is just start understanding other people's experiences and get people to share their experiences with us. Because, let's face it, we can talk all day about what's been worked for us, but actually it would be nice to hear from other people to hear what works for them. Because the reality is that they will be very similar.
Well, Gavin, I'm glad that you said that because what we got coming up in the next month, in the month of April, we are going to start some executive roundtables. And our executive roundtables is going to give others an opportunity to join us on our podcast, or on our workshop, on our executive roundtables to discuss some of the things that they're dealing with or some of the successes they have had. So we're looking forward to having these executive roundtables starting next month.
Hmm.
And then, like I said, it's going to be a benefit to all.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I mean, I'm really excited about that because, we're both in the training world. I train many different people, different levels or different stages in their careers. Some are starting their leadership roles, some are more developed. But actually, I think it's really important that we keep learning and understanding from people's different perspectives what works. And also sometimes and this is almost like that self-reflection bit. Are
Yes.
our experiences and what we know, does that work for everybody? Okay, no, it probably does because most of it is actually logical. And there's normally quite a lot of academic rigor around what we train people. But actually, I want to hear other people's stories. I want to know how they were successful or what prevented them from being successful. Okay,
Okay.
because sometimes that will.
What would be the benefit for somebody joining our executive roundtable?
Well, we can talk about our strategic performance systems that we've spoken about over the last few months, and actually just to share our experiences is useful. Okay, as I say, it's important to self-reflect, but sometimes you can't. It's hard to benchmark how successful you are, and I found actually over the years, just being able to talk to other people, it helps you go through other issues that you're having. Okay, and often you'll find that you're not the only one having the same issue with people or with change programs or whatever it may be. Other people have been through that experience, and that's how we really develop. Because one of the things I think we're critical of, also we're not very good at in sometimes, is we always want to start from fresh, reinvent the wheel. Well, actually, other people have been through the same experiences that you've been. Why don't we just talk to each other? It'd be a lot easier.
Oh, I like the way you said that. But I want to go back to one of the things you mentioned. You brought up our strategic performance systems. What do you mean by that? Our strategic performance system, it combines the best of emotional intelligence, human behavior styles, and some critical communication. So it's a synergy of all of those mixed together is our strategic performance system. So it's not just one topic. It's not just conflict resolution. It's not just emotional intelligence where you just talk about self-awareness. It's not just human behavior styles where you talk about your personality style over somebody else's style, but it's a combination of all of those mixed. And that's what our strategic performance systems does. It brings all of those things together, and it brings that synergy to have the best of both worlds, or tri-worlds, or make you a better performer, and help you with everything in workplace environment.
Yeah, and that's right. And the reason people need to have a wide understanding of all these different systems is that there's no one size fits all. You know, the best leaders that I've seen and worked with are the ones that are agile, the ones that know when to be emotionally intelligent, the ones that know to look about your behaviors, the ones that communicate well. And actually the skill is being able to flip between one to the other at the right time. Okay. And that's what key is. So we all have our preferences about how we want to behave or act or kind of work. But we've got to be able, if we want to be really good leaders, we want to be able to change depending on certain circumstances. You've got to know when to do that. And that's where those strategic performance criteria become really important, systems become really important.
Right. I like what you said about that. You have to want to learn. You have to, I mean, in this world, you're either learning or you're getting passed by somebody who else is learning. So we're all in this group to be lifelong learners. You know, you got to be that LLLs, lifelong learners. And the way to do that, to improve, to increase your chances of being promoted, increase promotion ability, and just be able to attract and retain highly qualified employees. You got to have that emotional intelligence. You got to have that human behavior styles. You got to know about human behavior styles. And then you have to be able to communicate effectively.
And you've got to be open to it as well. You've got to, I mean, not all this stuff works all the time for everybody. You've got to be, and this is the agility I talk about, but you've got to have that growth mindset of wanting to try and improve, because none of us have actually been perfect in life. We will always make mistakes, and that's absolutely fine, because mistakes are part of life. But what you've got to be able to do is be prepared to learn from those mistakes and say, well, actually, how could I do that differently next time? And sometimes you need a bit of a framework, okay, just to give you a little bit of a nudge to say, well, actually, probably I wasn't quite aware of how they were feeling or their perspective. What could I do around this conflict? What sort of models could I use to help me with that? And that's where I think understanding those strategic performance systems, as we call them, bring them all together, allows you to kind of pick and choose when you need to use them. So it's a really powerful way. And I think, you know, understanding that from other people's perspectives, that's why I'm really quite excited about the round table, is to hear their experience, how they've done that, how other, you know, credible leaders have been successful, so that we can share that with other people.
I want to piggyback on something else you said just there a little bit ago, and go into a little bit in depth about that, was the growth mindset. And if you have a growth mindset, then the mistakes you make are just stepping stones to your success.
Yes.
You know, when you have that growth mindset, you can make a mistake, but now you've learned from that mistake. And you could use that as a stepping stone to keep going further and keep moving forward toward your goal.
And I think we don't make enough of mistakes. What we tend to do, we try to inhibit people from making mistakes. We scare them, you know, in terms of performance criteria or penalty, not to make mistakes. But actually, if we accepted that people will make mistakes because everybody's human, then our mindset will change to actually use that as a learning opportunity. All organizations are much more effective. But we tend not to do that. We tend to not create psychologically safe environments where people are authentic and able to feel free to make mistakes. Okay, they're too scared to make mistakes. It should be that way around, and that's why that mindset needs to flip around.
Okay. Oh, we talked about individually, but what about if you're an HR personnel or HR professional, and you're looking at your leaders, and you want to say, what can we do to help our leaders? Not just one individual person, but as a group, as a team, as an office, as a organization, you know?
Yes. Well, I think we'll find is that a lot of the stuff we teach about leadership, conceptually isn't actually that complicated.
Right.
And a lot of people will say, I do lots of training, people say, oh, well, I kind of do that anyway. the power is understanding what they're doing and why they're doing it. Okay, because sometimes we do things, oh, it's successful, I kind of do this. But if you understand why it's successful, then actually it's more powerful. And so what systems provide you is a kind of structure to understand how you're performing and which bits you need to develop.
Right.
And that's the key thing, because most people know most people generally know when they're being okay, but they need a little bit more depth about why.
Yes, yes. Because our strategic performance systems, like I said, it encompasses all those training things. And what it helps is develop great leaders and teams to require more than just that technical expertise.
Mhm.
They have to require to be your leaders to have the ability to connect and to adapt and to communicate more effectively with all your teammates and all
Yes.
your people above you, equal to you, and those below you.
Oh yeah, managing up is just as important as managing down,
Yes.
undoubtedly. And what we've got to, what we want to do is what I would want HR personnel to do in terms of if they're arranging training for their leadership, is to get their leadership to really buy into that concept that they've got to try things. Okay, give them space to try things. What happens is people go on training courses, they go back to their workplace, and they're too busy to actually implement what they've learned. Well, actually, if you create an environment where lots of people are being trained and people are talking about the same things in the same language, people are more likely to want to try it. And that's why it's quite key to train at different levels in an organization, so that people understand they set expectations of how their leaders should be, because they know what they've been taught.
All right. Well, Gavin, so we need to tell people to look forward to hearing the next advertisement for our strategic performance workshops. And actually, I'm sorry, roundtables. We're going to start off with the roundtables. So it'll be the Workplace Wizards roundtables, where we're going to have everybody can join in, and you can engage and tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're going through, and some of the remedies that you've used, and everybody can share, and we'll have a great roundtable, and we'll just keep moving forward through April, learning more and more about others.
Yeah, celebrate. Don't be afraid to celebrate success. Come and share it with us.
Yes. So we look forward to seeing you in April. Come join us.
I will see you soon.
All right. So we'll see you guys soon.